welcome to this other episode of this crazy holiday special thing with lots of people telling you about them so that you can learn. Woo! Yeah! And today to talk a bit more about not only animation or like storyboard or designs, but to also talk about like how you work, how to plan your day, how to do animation. I brought a very cool friend. I have India over here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is awesome.
We will talk about how it is to kind of work freelance, work on your own, work from home, because, you know, it's often the big dream, but it's not always perfect, and there's some ups and downs about it, and we're gonna spy our way around what it is to work independently.
Ooh. Okay, I am India Swift. Hello. I'm an animator, a storyboarder, a storyteller, anything arty I'm kind of into, but I'm known mostly as an animator.
Are you a magician?
Yes, I wish.
I knew it.
Yeah, I have the amazing ability to make cupcakes disappear as if they never existed. It's a skill. I guess most people will probably know me from Knights of a Light Table and the Starlight Brigade music video, which I had the opportunity to direct, which was amazing. I'm working in Storyboards right now on some cool projects, just having an awesome time making cool stuff.
So it's the holiday time, and so we're gonna talk about a little holiday thing. So do you have a favorite holiday dish or like holiday tradition, like something you only eat or you only do around this special time of year where we have nothing else to do than eat?
That's why it's my favorite time of year, is I get to do my favorite thing, which is consume delicious delicacies. That's a good question though. I think for me the holidays, pavlova is the thing that I always have, and that's because for me when my family are celebrating Christmas, everybody has Christmas cake, which is like a really dense fruit cake, but I never liked that as a kid. Like I always really disliked it, so they would always get me my own little dessert instead, and I would always have a pavlova, which is like meringue and cream and fruit. So it's not traditional to anyone else, but to me that's like my holiday tradition, is I get to have a pavlova.
I mean, I get that, like, everybody eats, like, turkey or some meat thing on Christmas, but Christmas is my birthday, so like, I get to say what we eat for Christmas, and we always eat lasagna, because it's the...
Nice. You're Garfield incarnate.
Oh, yes. If only I could be a cat. Or a bird.
Too bad you're a bird.
And you have any favorite holiday song? Or music in general?
Music in general, my music tastes are super diverse. Like, I don't tend to like genres, I tend to like specific songs. In terms of holiday stuff, I think I'm partial to White Christmas, because back when I was a teenager I had like a rock band, and we would play that song at the holidays but change all the lyrics to be like way more rockin' and hardcore. So
what?
Yeah, I had like a punk rock band. We were really bad.
That's okay.
We were called Blackjack, but it was a lot of fun, and we would play that song at holidays. And yeah, I think White Wine in the Sun is really good too. That's Tim Minchin's song. That kind of epitomizes how I feel about the holiday.
And speaking of music, do you by any chance play an instrument? Because very often animators kind of have a bit of love for music, so I'm curious, is this a chicken?
It's me being like, oh, this is a tall bird.
It's very tall.
Bird. But yeah, I am one of those people who also loves music. I would love to be in any kind of band again, but yeah, I play guitar, I sing. I don't do either particularly well, but I really enjoy doing them. It's kind of like a hobby. My dad's super into guitars as well, and music, so he always encourages me.
It's a family thing. And you know how
Yeah.
2020 have been one heck of a year for many reasons, such as the Backstreet Boys going on tour and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for many reasons. But I'm pretty sure that everybody can find at least one very positive thing that happened during the year so far. Do you have such an event?
Yes, I do.
What is it? What is it? Is it discovering the Rise of the Ninja Turtles?
Yes, well, it's super similar to that. It's that I got hired to work with them, with the people who make it. So that is my absolute like dream job. So that's the thing that's made this year, even though this year's been like
Weird.
pretty strange and weird and terrible. That's made it one of the coolest years for me. Just because I've got to work on such an amazing project with such incredible people. It really is a dream come true. So, yeah, this is the year I discovered Rise of the TMNT was a thing and found my new favorite series, and it's also the year I got to work with the people who made it. So I'm super excited about that.
But can you tell us a little bit about your work? Like, what most inspires you when you create?
Oh, well, it helps me working on something that you love.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm working on, Turtles themed stuff, I'm always inspired because I just love that franchise, love that series. So that's kind of auto inspiration right there.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like my other big love is Sonic the Hedgehog. So if I was working on anything Sonic themed, I would be super inspired all the time.
So Sega, if you're listening,
Yeah, I'm always available for you, Sega. You know that.
well, right after the Turtles, right?
Yeah.
Stay in line,
Obviously.
Sega. Take a ticket. Pick a number.
Oh my gosh, let's just combine them together and make the ultimate series.
Oh boy. But like this is when you work on something that is very interesting. But as animator, as creators, sometimes we work on stuff that is not exactly our cup of tea.
Yeah.
Do you have some like ways or like things that help you keep kind of motivated to work on things that are a bit less interesting?
Yeah, I think looking at artists that inspire me always really gets me pumped and motivated to work on stuff. So there's a ton of really awesome young artists on Twitter nowadays. Like I can look on Twitter and I'll find like 16-year-olds who can draw circles around me. And it's like the most inspiring, motivating thing because it's like if they can do that now, that means I can learn to do that. So seeing people just make amazing art, seeing people kicking ass at what they do, that always gets me really pumped to improve and, makes me attack things with new vigor because I'm like, oh man, I just want to get better. I just want to get to that level. I just want to push my work that much harder,
I know.
Yeah, I bet you feel it too. It's that burn inside you to be like, I just want to make the cool stuff.
I have a question for you. Did you ever hear about a very cool show called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle? Did you ever hear about that show? I heard it's really great and I think you should watch it.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for the recommendation. No, I've never heard of it before, but it sounds super great. You set me up. You knew that I would love this. Yes, thank you. Thank you for giving me an opportunity just to rant about it.
Yeah, so what do you love so much about that show?
Oh my
like,
gosh.
yeah, you have to sell it to me. Why would I watch it considering I didn't already watch it? Because I did.
Oh no. I have to compose my thoughts. This is impossible. Okay, well, for one thing, for all the animators out there, the animation and the art style are super great and super inspiring. Like, if you need a bit of pep in your step, you want to see something new, you want to see something awesome, check out the animation that Flying Bark are pulling off on that series because it's incredible. Like, all the poses and everything too are so full of character all the time. It's incredible. As well as that, the writing's super good. It's hilarious. It's got great action, great drama. Is that a chow?
I think it is. I don't know
God.
much about Sonic, but I remember these from when I was a kid.
Super cute.
Thank you.
Yeah, just the writing's hilarious. The crew who made it are amazing. The voice acting is so good. All the characters are incredibly lovable. I just think there's so many things to love about it. I think it's got something for everyone. For me, it's super inspiring in terms of how to construct a series and storytell and build characters in a way where, you have all these great fun light scenarios where you really get to have fun and have these zany scenarios play out with the characters. And it gets you invested in them, makes you care about them. You get to know them in all these low stakes kind of adventures. And then when the drama hits and when the going gets tough, you're invested enough for it to really matter to you you know, how it goes, whether they're going to be okay, how they handle it. And it makes the action feel that much more kind of on the razor's edge. So when it goes hard, it really goes hard. And the animation, you know, it's good enough to keep up with all that great drama, all the great acting, all the great action scenes. It's just awesome. In terms of boarding too, it's incredibly inspiring. It's stylistically, it's very similar actually to Spider-Verse, if people saw and enjoyed that. Lots of very comic booky techniques being used in terms of the cutting and the boarding. I think it's really pushing things in a good direction for animation, and I think it definitely deserves to get more people's eyeballs on it.
Well, I hope we get more people eyeballing it.
Yeah,
Today.
it also was been made in a particular program called Toon Boom Harmony, which you might be
That's true.
familiar with. Yeah.
I forget about. Yeah, it's true. It was. Okay, so enough of
Thank
Rise.
you. I thought you geek out about turtles.
All right, so you do many things, like from illustration to boarding to animation. So when you animate, like how do you approach a scene usually? Like you receive the scene, like perhaps the storyboard is already in there, you have the animatic to look up to. I mean, the animatic is in there, but you have the storyboard to look up to. But like animating is more than just putting drawings in between keyframes. Like how do you approach a scene?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's interesting because it is, animation is so particular to the artist that everyone kind of approaches it in a different way. For me, I like to tackle the frames first where I have a really clear idea in my mind of what they're going to be. So when I get a scene or a sequence, there'll be like particular moments or particular expressions that I will have in my head of how I think it should play out. And so I'll tackle those first, and then I'll kind of build the rest of the animation around those, because I find it very hard to do good work if I don't have a clear idea. So starting with the clearest, I guess, visual ideas that I have really helps me in getting started on stuff.
That's interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, how do you do it, out of curiosity?
I usually look at the storyboard. Sometimes I'm gonna like start on the pose that I'm most comfortable with, like the one that drives the rest of the animation, and then I kind of wonder what the scene is all about, like what's the character doing and feeling, because when you have the storyboard you can't just like trace the animation or trace the drawing. You need to kind of know where this is going and what's gonna lead it. So I guess also I'm very careful about how the character is gonna act, because I love to put little small details of characters inside the animation that sometimes you can miss, but I know they're there, so it makes me happy.
Yeah, like you want to keep it very specific to that character.
Mm-hmm.
That's super cool.
And speaking of like animatics and storyboard, how much does the storyboard and animatic help in an animation, and how do you use it? So like what I'm talking about is when I teach, often students are like, oh, I can't animate, I'm no good, and because they're trying to start from scratch and it doesn't work. And I say, well, you should try and find some animatic that you can work with or animate on top, because a lot of the work in animation is also comes from like interpreting the storyboard. So
Yeah, I think that's a great piece of advice, because they give you a starting point. And I think to what you just said before as well, about how when you approach a scene you really think about like what's happening in this scene and what the character is thinking or feeling, how to put that across. That's where the storyboard is like super useful in showing you kind of the intent of the scene, because often you can read from the storyboard what the tone of the scene is. And if it's a good storyboard, it'll be very clear, so it'll give you an idea of the action and everything. So when you're trying to figure out what the scene is about, the board will kind of give you the most necessary pieces of information you need to put that together and know kind of how to interpret it. So it's a great starting point in terms of animation.
yeah, because now I'm getting better, but I remember when I started out, just finding the poses, like the basic poses, was so hard. And it's only when I started to work in the industry that I realized that, storyboard artists are really good at making key poses and very dynamic layouts. And animators are really good at bringing this to life. Because I have a friend who do storyboards, and he's like, I can do amazing poses, but I can't animate to save my life. And that rang a bell, was like, well, there's different set of skills, and perhaps making expressive like frames or like poses is not the thing that animators do right away. You learn it, but you don't need it to have it right away. So you can focus on maybe working in between poses if you see yourself struggling. And just learning that made me so much more calm about my art. I was like, okay, I don't have to get it that right now. I'll get it maybe in a year or two. And so don't underestimate the power of a good storyboard.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, animation, more than most things, is really a team effort.
Mm-hmm.
So, the director giving their vision down to the storyboard artist, and the storyboard artist giving their vision down to the animator, and the animator giving their vision down to the cleanup artist. Like, everyone is working in tandem to try and get something that sells the emotion and the story onto the screen. So it's not all on one person, and you can rely on your teammates to help you out and kind of trust in their work as well.
Because I remember I think it was in Magnum Bullet, there was lots of like fight scene, very complex, and I don't know if it's you, but somebody said like the storyboard really helped for these scenes, just to keep everything cohesive between like different animators.
Yes, definitely. Like the storyboards in Magnum Bullets were quite tight, tighter than you would usually see. So they were much more like keyframes or layouts for us, which was incredibly helpful because those characters they're very specific and the models are really complex, and there's a lot of kind of refined touches to the design that Patrick added in. Patrick was the director for that project, and he's an incredible artist. So his drawing skill is like right up there. So it was really helpful for all of the people who are working with him, like me and the other animators, to have that like very, very clear posing set out before us so that we could try and keep things on model.
Don't try to understand what I'm doing.
These are so adorable.
Let's make it a turtle. Yeah!
I'm a drawing turtle too.
Thank you for sharing all that. And speaking of Patrick and the other amazing people that you work with, what are some of the most useful tips and advice that you received from peers or mentors or friends or anyone?
Oh there are so much. Everything I learn is from the people around me, the people I get to work with, and my friends. Something my friends tell me a lot, because it's a problem that I have, is don't undervalue yourself. And I think that is an important thing for young artists to learn early.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah, everybody has it. Mm-hmm. Everybody has it. Even, the people at the very top, even Glenn Keane, I bet, has it. Even James Baxter, even Spencer Wan, all those animation icons, I bet they all have it. But yeah, like especially around the holidays when people are all, they're saving up to go and see family or, take some time off. I see a lot of artists posting, commission prices on Twitter, and they will offer things like full body, full color artwork for $15.
What?
It's like, unless that is taking you literally 15 minutes to do, that's like really underselling yourself. So I hope that artists can have the confidence to charge a fair rate for their work, because it's time consuming, and artists need to they need to earn enough to live every month just like everyone else. And when you're doing it purely through art, it's really hard to do that if you're not charging very much.
Yeah.
For pieces which take you 4 to 5 hours to make. If it takes you half of a workday to do, you should charge half a workday's rate for it, basically.
Oh yeah, and pricing stuff is a very, very big subject, and I really hope we can get a lot of people on board to talk about it in the future. That gave me idea.
Yeah. Definitely. That's a good piece of advice actually. It's don't be afraid if you're new in animation and you've just got your first animation job or something, or even if you've been in animation for a little while, don't be afraid to talk with your co-workers about your salaries and how much you're getting paid.
Oh yeah.
There's like a feeling that it's kind of taboo to talk to other people about how much they're getting paid.
Yeah, but some studios are very not great about it. Like if you talk about it, you can get like reprimanded. And I really hope that this trend will die very soon.
Yeah, me too. Because it's deceptive and it's done in a way so that they can try and charge certain people, not charge certain people, pay certain people more, and certain people less, depending on what they think they can get away with. Which really needs to be like stamped out. Yeah, little birdie wizard. So don't be afraid to talk to your co-workers about how much they're getting paid, and just make sure everything's on the up and up. You know, look after one another and have one another's backs. And it's not awkward. It's fine. I've had the conversation with friends. I do it regularly.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I remember when I finished school, a lot of my friends and I, we talked together because we got job offers from the same studio, and everybody, like, we got interviewed and everybody told the same minimum price, just so that, and we put it higher than what is usually the thing. And that was really fun because the company kind of told us for the one for the last ones, we're like, wow, you're people from this year, you're already charging quite a lot. We're like, well, yeah. I don't know why. Did everybody say that? Oh my god. What?
Yeah, good. Like, that's the way to do it. Because if you all do it together, then, you know, you end up making it better for everybody.
I mean, just be sure that you trust the people so that not everybody goes on asking $20 an hour and somebody takes the job at 14. And you're like, crap.
Yeah, exactly. Because, you know, they will get the job, but also they will be underpaid for their work, and then everyone else hired after them will probably also be underpaid because the company will keep lowballing people.
I mean, none of us got the job, but we made a point.
Stand. The important thing.
But the good thing to take out is that we did get a job after that at another place that paid what we asked for. So, no, I mean, there's something to learn from that.
Yeah, definitely.
But, you know, charging too low or charging too much, because that happens as well, is just part of life and making mistakes. And making mistakes is part of an artist's journey. And the thing is that you have to learn from them. So is there like a thing you did that you learned from in the past, in your artist life? You don't have to answer.
Everything. The way that I learn is by making mistakes. That's literally the way that I learn how to do things, is I do it wrong, and then I'm like, that didn't turn out very well, and then I do it again, and I'm like, I'll do it differently this time, and then I get a bit better, and I keep doing that. It's like when I was learning to rollerblade. Oh boy. I just like, I fell over so many times. I was basically throwing myself at the floor by the end, and everyone was like, are you okay? But you know what? I learned faster than 90% of the people at my roller derby class, because I was like just not afraid to fall over. So every time I fell over, like, I learned how to keep my balance a little bit better. So I think it's important in art too not to be afraid of those mistakes. They're gonna happen. Everyone has to go through them, and it's necessary to learn.
I know one mistake I did was to send stuff to someone before signing a paper, and I got screwed over. But that's okay.
Oh no! What? Don't I have to ask now? Like, was it okay? What happened?
I was young and stupid. No, it was like when I was. I think it was when I first graduated. I got to work for somebody on like making covers for novels, and. Like, to sign the paper, I had to go very far away. Like, the studio was really far, so I had to... So they were like, okay, I'm just going to send stuff waiting for us to sign the papers, like, tomorrow. But then I sent the stuff, and they were like, well, you know what? Actually, the order said they wanted to go with photography instead. So we're not going to take the drawing, but, like, thank you so much for trying. I'm like, what? That was not a try. Like, you hired me to do that. So that was super weird. Then they were like... Well, even the best actors are, though, when they audition after that, they don't always yet get taken if the project changes. If they want to make it animated instead of a movie, then I'm like, what? Whatever. So, yeah, never send stuff before you sign anything. That was the one and last time I did it, and I'm glad it happened when I was a kid.
Yeah, what a weird situation.
Yeah, but and I have to give props to my teachers for that. Because I went back to school because I love my teachers, so we still talk. And I was like so angry and like I felt so stupid. Like I felt stupid to have to do that. And all of them told me no, we all went through the same thing. And they all told me some mistakes that they did and how they solved it. And it made me feel so much better. So that's why I added this point in the video. I'm like, everybody makes these kind of mistakes. You don't have to be like ashamed about it and stuff. As long as you learn from them.
It's true. It's true. I guess one thing which I could say I've recently learned is I always tend to leave the most complicated parts of scenes until last.
No.
I think because in my brain I'm like, okay, if I get all these easier parts out of the way first, then I can just focus 100% of my brain power on the like important and complex shots, and then I'll be able to do a really good job of them. But what inevitably happens every single time is I end up with like 0 time left
for the hard scenes
to do the biggest, most complex, important shots, because I've spent all the time at the beginning doing the small stuff, and then I end up super stressed and my animation all stiffens up because I'm like under loads of pressure to do it, and I don't do as good a job as I would had I been like more relaxed about it. So my advice would be, don't make the same mistakes I do. When you get given an assignment, do the most complicated stuff first, and then if at the end you are running out of time, at least it's the little small easy unimportant things that you have to like cut the time on, not the really big important things.
Oh my god, I think one of my productions I was on, they were like because we would receive a couple of scenes every week to animate, and they were like, do one that is super easy, and after that hurry up and go do the hard ones, because otherwise they didn't want us to be stuck by doing all the hard ones in the end. They're like, get comfortable, and after that you have to really do the hard ones right away. And I'm glad that I learned that early too.
Yeah. It's so important.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, it's really helpful to just like get those while you're feeling fresh, you know.
Fresh as a daisy.
Yeah.
And now to talk a bit more about like how is it to work outside of a studio. How is it to work on your own, on a freelance base? So what is kind of the typical workday like when you don't have to get to a studio and you don't have like anyone directly telling you like and watching you do stuff? Like what is your typical day of work like?
Yeah, so for me, I wake up, and then the first thing that we do every day is the Anna morning stream. And when I say we, I mean me and my partner Michael. And we haven't done that for a couple of weeks just because deadlines have been pretty intense over the past couple of weeks, so we've taken a break for it. But usually we do those every morning from about 7:30 a.m. GMT to about 9 a.m. GMT. And it's just like, it's a way to hang out with friends, it's a way to stream personal projects and artwork, and it's a way to get us at our desk for 9, so we're like up, we're awake, we're ready to work. So that structure is incredibly helpful to just making sure that we're up, because
people are waiting for you, so you have to get out of bed. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah, like it keeps us accountable for it, because there are people expecting us to be there, so you know, there's more reason to get up than if you're just like, oh, I should get up because I should be at my desk. So we do that. I start work at 9:30 or 10 o'clock usually, because I'll have some breakfast first. And then I tend to work into the evening. And then I've been getting better recently about knocking off in the evening and maybe reading a book or watching a series on YouTube or Netflix or something. And yeah, that's basically it. I have a few tea breaks and stuff through the day, you know, lunch breaks and stuff.
Taking breaks is important.
Very, very simple. We used to go for walks as well after the streams,
Mhm.
and that was really good. I would recommend that. It was kind of it was an idea by one of my friends, Sean Cunningham, who you guys might know as Paper Bag Animator. He's a really cool dude and a really good animator, and he used to have a walk every morning to simulate walking to work. So even though he worked from home, he would have like a half an hour walk and then sit down and start working. And it's a great way to just like, it takes a lot of stuff off your mind. It puts you in a nice space. You get some fresh air. I definitely recommend that. It was a lot of fun to just have that little walk before starting work every day.
I actually do the opposite. Right off when I sign off from my regular day job, I just go outside and take a walk with my dog just to separate like my work to my personal stuff. So it's interesting to see like the opposite, like walk to get to work. That's really cool. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Walks are incredible.
Yeah,
like,
just getting
don't
off.
underestimate them.
Yeah, you're just getting out of your house, like out of your room to do something else.
Yeah, exactly. Makes a big difference, especially nowadays, when it's difficult to get out properly.
Mm-hmm. And what do you most enjoy about working freelance? Because you weren't always freelance. Like usually people work in studios and then they kind of figure out that, hey, maybe I want to try something else.
Yeah, that's like what happened to me basically. And I definitely enjoy working freelance. I really enjoy it. I think it's the variety of projects I get to work on and the variety of people I get to work with that makes it so enjoyable to me. Like there's something so cool about being able to work with people from all over the world. And you get that to a certain degree in studios, but when everyone is working remotely on a project, like right now I'm working alongside board artists who are, from Africa, and there's people from California, and there's people from England, and there's people from France, and it's so cool to have that diverse spread of people and that diverse spread of experience. And yeah, also the variety of projects is really fun. It feels like every time you hop onto a new project, it's something completely different. In a studio, it feels more like you're kind of tied to whatever the studio picks up.
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely a degree of freedom to it.
Yeah, these are very, very good point. Like the fact that you have kind of more freedom to choose what you work on instead of waiting for perhaps your favorite studio. Even if you're happy at a studio, you still have to wait for that studio to find some more. Wow. But these are also very nice points. But nothing is perfect. So is there something that are a bit harder when you freelance, and what can you do about it to make it less of a hurdle?
Oh, definitely the hardest thing is that you miss that person-to-person contact. Like when I did work in a studio, it was really nice just to be able to like go over to my friend Jenny's desk and be like, hey, what's up? How's your day going? Or just pass people on the stairs and be like, hey, how are you? And to hang out at lunch and, get to go out and hang out in town with one another and everything like that. And, even just little fun things like office pranks that you would pull.
Oh, I miss those.
Yeah, or just dressing up, in stupid stuff. Having, fun events at work and things like that are the things that I really miss, the in-person stuff. And it's really hard to find a replacement for that. The closest thing I found is I really enjoy being part of a community on Discord. I enjoy having a lot of friends who I can talk to online during the day. And especially when I'm working with someone on the same project, it's nice to be able to get into an audio chat with them and just share screens, and it kind of simulates an office environment.
Mm-hmm.
You get to hear the tap of their tablet Cintiq, and you get to hear like them sipping their tea and everything, and that goes a long way to making it feel like you're kind of in the same place, and you're all working on the same thing together.
Yeah, it's like if people cannot go to animation school, for example, everybody says, oh, but you don't need school, you can learn on your own. But I think even for that, same as being freelance, I think you also need to consider at least finding a community for you to to work with or hang out with, because otherwise it can get really hard.
Yeah, it makes a big difference, you know. Just having those friends who you can chat to, blow off some steam with. I think it does a huge amount for motivation and mood.
And by being freelance, you've done a lot of different things, from like illustration to animation to storyboard now, which so this is very cool. But and you even directed me. Let's not forget that. So that's a wide array of skills. But most recently, you went from doing more animation to full-on storyboard. Do you have any tips on how to storyboard when you come from animation background? Because it's not the same. It's similar, but there's lots of differences. So yeah, what's your take on it?
Yeah, there are a lot of differences, and if you're anything like me, the thing you'll find the hardest is not kind of over animating your board. That makes sense. Like, I have a tendency to like board on threes and stuff because I'm so used to animation being the thing that I do, that just naturally carries over, and I get very excited about fleshing out the motion and really like getting what's in my head onto the screen, and that means that I can get very like caught up in specific panels rather than looking at the overall sequence. So I would say if you're going into boarding as an animator, probably the best thing to do to avoid over animating everything is to try and keep it simple, keep it rough, but remember that clarity and being clear is super important. So rough but clear, and also try and hit like the story points in the least amount of drawings you possibly can, and then you can go back through and add the more drawings where you feel like you need them. But one of the things I've learned is that you'd be really surprised at how few drawings you really need to sell an idea, if those drawings are clear. So see how few drawings you can use to begin with, and then go back and add them if you feel like it needs it.
Good piece of advice. Yeah, if you could excel, I love to ask this question. If you could excel in another discipline that is not your main area of expertise for one day, what would it be and why?
Oh man, so much stuff. Are you kidding me? Oh, everything. Everything. I guess like to go back to what we were talking about earlier, like I would love to be really, really good at playing the guitar for a day and like do some rockin' ass performance. I would love that. Just be a rock star for a day. Like, in fact, that would be perfect because then I would have no obligation after performing to, you know, continue and handle like the fans or anything. I could just be a rock star for a day and then go back to quietly being there. And that would be amazing. I guess that, or doing something else creative like cooking. Like I'd love to be able to cook really well and just make like amazing, beautiful dishes.
What would be the first thing you would like to cook if you would practice? Like, what is your aspiration? I have a friend who really wants to make the best apple pie ever. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, wow. I mean, that's a good aspiration. Maybe cheesecake or key lime pie, because we don't get that over here.
Yeah,
and I would love to try it.
Not so much of advice, but do you have anything to say on the matter of not getting discovered, but like putting yourself out there? Because we often hear like, oh, like doing fan art is not good because you should get paid to do fan art and people should only do like their own stuff. But like I draw so much like Zelda stuff and you love the turtles and stuff. And like personally, I think that if you like, I think like one of the reason I draw fan art is because it brings so many people together. Like, people are going to discover you maybe by finding a turtle piece that you made and then look at the rest of your stuff. So yeah, how do you go about like that whole drawing fan art thingy?
Yeah, I really I 100% agree with you. I think fan art is a great way to get discovered. And I think it's just like you should draw what you want to draw. Like the best way to get, you know, the best way to work on the kinds of stuff that you enjoy working on is to already make the kind of things that you want to make. So rather than drawing what you think everyone wants to see for you to get hired, which will end up in you getting hired to do something you potentially aren't that into, you should be drawing the stuff that really inspires you, that you love, that you think about, like as you're trying to go to sleep at night. Draw that stuff. Draw the stuff that really inspires you, and hopefully it'll inspire other people. And when people do hire you, they will be hiring you to do the stuff that you've been putting out, so you'll get to do the stuff that you really enjoy for a living. Yeah, I mean, I think I kind of got started doing a lot of fan art. I draw a lot of Sonic. I've done a lot of Game Grumps stuff because I think they're just great.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's the stuff that got me like discovered and on people's radars. You know, and like you said, it's a great way to meet people who are into the same stuff as you. It's a great way to practice drawing and animating with a benchmark to measure yourself against. Like, if you're drawing turtles, you can look at the turtles show and be like, how does my, models match up to those? How does my animation match up to those? And it gives you a very clear basis of comparison for your skill level. Like, I'm not sure why people think it's unprofessional. I think it's great. I think just draw the stuff you love and go for it. And I think my other piece of advice for getting discovered is kind of ironic. I think maybe people are a bit too focused on the numbers nowadays, and too focused on it needing to get likes or recognition to be worth doing. And I think that means that people often get discouraged before they reach the point where their work would be discovered by someone. And because they think it's not getting any views now, they are discouraged from continuing to push and post stuff. I really don't care about how many followers or likes or retweets anything I do get. I just do it because I enjoy doing it and for the love of doing it. And I think, that is a good attitude to have, because then either way you get a win out of what you're posting. You get to enjoy doing something and putting it up without worrying about how many likes it's going to get. And then it will happen, it can take some time. But just keep doing the stuff that you're passionate about. It will find an audience, and don't be discouraged by a lack of interaction. There's so many artists out there who are incredible and barely have any followers or barely get any likes on their stuff, and it's kind of mind-boggling, but it happens. And so you shouldn't use those as a metric to measure how good you are, because the best stuff doesn't always rise to the top. So just keep believing in what you're doing and do it because you enjoy it.
Wise words, wise words. Oh, and I guess like you mentioned the turtles, that's true, because like fan art can also take you to experiment in a style that you are maybe not comfortable with.
Yeah, exactly. And that just helps to expand your skill set. Like, drawing the turtles for me is still a challenge, even though I've been working on it for a couple of months now. But it's really helped me become a better artist, like trying to rise to that challenge.
See what you did there.
I didn't mean to do that, but there you are. But yeah, it's everything that pushes you out of your comfort zone art-wise is gonna expand your skill set. So it's always fun to try something new and challenging. Like, keep being ambitious with what you're making.
All right, thank you for that little insight into your work life. And you mentioned Harmony earlier. And I guess you work in Storyboard Pro now?
I do, yeah.
So, like, in any of the software, whatever you want, and I do that just because I have, like, some followers that are like, oh, I don't want to get into these software because they're too complicated, I'm too scared, I'm going to keep using the other stuff I'm using, and that's fine. I just think that it's fun to have as many... Is that Stripe?
Yeah.
To have as many tools in your belt, so maybe to make people a bit less scared about those. What are some of the favorite features you have with these softwares so far, either Harmony or Storyboard Pro or both? Your pick.
It's tough because they are like, there's so much, and they are really good.
Maybe like 3 for each, so that it makes it easier.
Definitely my favorite thing about Toon Boom Harmony is I love that the lines are vectors, because the way that I animate relies heavily on me being able to like skew the lines and adjust the lines easily. So the ability to, like, if I'm doing some very subtle animation, copy and paste a frame across and then adjust those lines so I can maintain the solidity of the drawing, but I can make a new pose from it and adjust very small subtle things is like incredibly helpful. I use that with every single animation I make, and it's huge. I love the color system. I think the color system is amazing in Toon Boom because it allows me to be really flexible. What I can do is I can color a character completely in their local colors and then bring in a background, and then I can adjust the colors on the fly, and all the colors I've already used will change as I'm changing the palette, and I can match that to the environment and make it feel more like it ties into the setting. And that's wonderful. Like, super duper cool. And then I think my third favorite thing is the node view.
Oh yeah, the node view is your best friend.
Yeah, everyone starts off hating it and being scared of it, and I was too. So I understand the fear when you see that tangle of lines and boxes. The desire to run to the hills is strong, but also it's super powerful. And when you get to learn to use it, you know, when you figure it out, it becomes a really like clear visual indicator of how everything is working. And I think for artists, it's like an amazing way to be able to construct your scene, because it is so visual. Like, I have a box that represents my layer, and that's plugged into the thing which is the composite. And if I unplug it, the layer disappears. And then I can like pop a blur in between that on the line, and it will blur my layer. And it's like, it feels so intuitive.
And it makes you so much more free to do whatever you want. Like, you don't need to rely 100% on somebody else compositing your scene. Like, you can start to do some stuff on your own.
Yeah, in fact, I'm doing some personal projects for fun at the minute, and I'm compositing them in Toon Boom for the first time.
Oh my god.
And it's really fun. I'm like learning to use the blending modes and everything with my lighting paths. You know, there are so many options. It's so fun to play around with. And it's really rewarding, you know, when you figure out how to use something properly for the first time. Like, when I learned how to like make a puppet and like mask the eyes to the eye shape, the feeling of reward when you do that is so like, yes, I did it. I conquered the beast.
I mean, you know, I might be like a harmony expert nowadays, but not too long ago, and by that I mean I think 2015 or 16, yeah, I was doing internship at Toon Boom, and I was like, whoa, masking using cutter, let me take notes. And I used to take notes on paper to remember how to connect these things. And I mean, now I teach it, so it's all about learning it. But I remember, like you said, just masking in a pupil on an eye was such a victory, and I felt so awesome doing that.
Yeah. And it's not that hard to learn when you get into it. Like, once you learn how it works, it's all kind of just a string of logic from there that you can like follow to the end. And that's why it's so satisfying, is because like it feels like you can work it out without necessarily needing to go searching for a ton of documentation to help you out. You know? In terms of Storyboard Pro, which is, I've been learning a lot about that recently, because I've been, you know, using it intensely for the first time, really. Using it on a production means that because I'm not boarding for myself, you know, I have to make sure that I'm using the proper techniques and making sure that the people who follow me in the production find my boards clear and easy to use and everything's in the right place. So I've learned to use things like the spread layer motion and selecting drawings over multiple panels, and those have all been like real lifesavers when boarding. You know, like I used to board and I would have like 7 panels with a character sliding across them, and I would like key the character in every single panel and just try and make it look seamless with the motion. I didn't realize you could just like put 2 keys in and then hit a button and the program would like interpolate that for you across all 7 panels. So learning that has been like a huge help. Things like pinning the character to the camera as well, that's a huge help.
Especially when using 3D. I don't know if you do on the other project, but
Sometimes I do, in particular scenes where I really want to get like that depth, where you can layer up the background elements and have a character move through them. Pinning the character to the camera and setting it to 3D is like hugely helpful.
That's good to know. And if there was one thing, or like two things in your case, because you use both software, one thing that you dreamed the software would be able to do, but cannot currently do, because I mean, it's the holiday, it's Christmas, we can all wish for something. Is there like a feature you would like it to have, like something that you're missing?
Yes. I think it's hard to think off the top of my head, but I have one for the Storyboard Pro software that I think would be amazing. So please, Santa, for Christmas, all I want is another layer to put storyboards on in my timeline. Because sometimes I want a character to be moving and maybe a looping effects in the background, or maybe I want like a ground plane to be looping or something. And to make that work over a long scene, I have to like break it into so many little panels with the character moving and then the background moving, then the character moving, then the background moving. And it's like, if I could just have like one track for the background and one track for the character, then I wouldn't have to divide it into so many panels and it would be way easier. So I would wish for another storyboard track on the timeline in Storyboard Pro.
That's nice. It's a nice wish to ask for Christmas. So if someone's listening, listen to that. Oh, I love that drawing. That's very happy.
I'll be looking inside my stocking in the morning and being like, did you get me another storyboard track?
Oh, wow. I mean, once I wished upon a star to get a GIF exporter in Harmony, and what do you know? It wasn't Harmony 16, so who knows?
Oh, I used that yesterday. Thank you so much for that, Z. You are our savior.
Priorities. Yeah, that's fun. And you know, it's holiday time, it's Christmas time, it's time to give back to the lovely people watching this video. So, can you name some artists that you look up to so that I can put them in the description below so that people can go and stalk them and get some knowledge in their brain and look at them with their eyes?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I've been looking at a lot of TMNT board artists recently for obvious reasons. So, I can say great storyboard artists who you should all definitely follow and check the work out of because they're incredible. Are my story directors JJ Conway and Kevin Molina Ortiz. Also, people who have been doing awesome work on TMNT. People like Sheldon Vella, Max Collins, Alison Smith, Casey Kuo, Alicia Chan. Oh my gosh, there are too many. Okay, definitely also David Liu, who's a good friend. He's also the creator of Space Maria, all-round amazing artist and person. Patrick Stannard, of course. CEO of Knights of the Light Table and animation director, currently co-directing on Masters of the Universe over at Powerhouse Animation. Yep. Sean Cunningham, who's a really good friend. He's known as Paper Bag online, and everyone at his new animation studio, Studio Mala, which he has founded and made, which is incredible. My partner, of course, like, how could I not mention Sir Michael Doig, who is, he does everything. He does, like, right now he's compositing on NSP's music video, but he does, like, character modeling, background art, color design, concept art, you know, just all-round awesome artist. And of course, Z, everyone should check out your stuff
Oh.
because amazing tutorials, awesome work, and you've been working on Lackadaisy cleanup, right, recently?
Yeah, I'm leading the cleanup on that short film. It's so crazy. It's the first
Oh my
time I need to
gosh.
take care of people.
I didn't know you were leading it. That's incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'll finally get my name in some credits. Make my mama proud.
Yeah. That's awesome. I've been following Lackadaisy since I found it when I was in school. So knowing that you're leading the cleanup on that, like, I could geek out at you so hard about it. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's definitely a learning experience to do all that. But yeah, it's been so long since I worked on a actual production, so like having characters that I can draw from memory, that was a long time that I didn't have that. But I can kind of draw these cats from memory now.
Yeah. How is it? How are you finding it? Is it fun?
It's fun. It is challenging because it's a lot of details and it looks gorgeous. But that's one of the reasons why I said yes to that project, because, you know, I have a day job as well, and I have my YouTube channel, and I have so many things to keep me busy.
Oh
But
my gosh,
I
yeah.
really believe in that project because it looks gorgeous. It's made by the wholesomest of wholesome people. And that
Yeah.
team is listening so much. Like, we had some issues about, like, cleaning up taking too much time. And like, we could have a discussion about it with, like, the animation team and the leads and the other people, and we just came into agreement to have some things set up so that cleanup wasn't that much of a hassle. And like, it's not something you can experience in all studios, so it's very refreshing and nice. And I think it's also something that you can do because it's an indie production. Like, there's no studio, we're all on Discord is our studio.
Yes.
But I think Lights is the same. Like, your studio is basically a Discord channel.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, everything that we do, all of the projects, like, they're all coordinated in different rooms on a server, and it just, like, it helps us keep in contact, and it's nice and casual. You know, it's a really convenient way to keep track of everything.
And yeah, I kind of feel bad now for asking about the artists we look up to, because I remember Tulum asked me the same. And I was like, who am I gonna forget while saying that? So, like, all
so
the
hard.
links will be in the description as well, because if you forgot something, at least we can just share it in there.
Yeah,
At
that's true.
least.
It's so hard off the top of your head to just, like, list, because there are so many people.
Mhm.
There's, like, I'm surrounded every day by amazing, inspiring artists who, you know, keep me motivated to keep working on stuff with their incredible art. Hundreds and hundreds of people.
Yeah. And do you have any suggestions of books or like digital media that people could just maybe look for or find on the internet or borrow from a friend?
Yeah, oh, I mean, should I say animated survival kit? I bet everybody says that. The Character Animation Crash Course by Eric Goldberg is great.
Oh.
Also, who has made a figure drawing book, Samantha Youssef.
Oh yeah,
Samantha
yeah, for
Youssef.
sure.
She's a wonderful person, and she's made an incredible book. So, you know, she's definitely worth supporting. She does little classes every now and then too.
Yeah, I met
Like,
her when I was a
really-
student.
Yeah, I went to one too, and it, like, kind of completely changed the way I draw forever. This little 3-day seminar. She's mind-blowingly good. She's incredible. Also, I guess in terms of YouTube channels and stuff, I think Tonico, his
Oh,
channel
yeah.
is great. Also, his Twitter feed is great. He posts really helpful GIFs all the time. Peg Barbarians is also a great one. Sun Creature Studios, they do, like, some behind-the-scenes stuff sometimes, which is really, really cool. If you guys have heard of Tales of Elethrion, they are the team behind that, and they are fantastic and amazing and inspiring. And again, all these people are just, like, really, really cool, awesome, kind people. So yeah, they are a great resource.
And
One last one. I just remembered. there's a channel called Extra Frames, I think.
Oh yeah. Wait,
Yeah.
is it a? Yeah, I think it's Extra Frame. I think I know what you mean.
Yeah,
And if not,
it used
we'll
to
just
be-
link it below.
Yeah, because they did a video game analysis series called Extra Credits, and the guy who used to be the voice of that is an animator, and he spun off his own channel called Extra Frame, and it just breaks down animation from different stuff.
I listened to his. He did. How is it called? Ah, the thing with the gods. God of War. Yeah, God of War.
Yeah.
He looked at it and he
God of
analyzed
War.
the animation. And it was back then I was working on a game, and it was like game changer just to listen to what he has to say.
Yeah, it's great. I think he does one like every month or every couple of months, but they're great. He's analyzed everything from like realistic stuff like God of War down to more cartoony stuff like Smash Brothers.
He did Mario as well, I think.
Yeah, and Monster Hunter. So definitely like check his stuff out. It's great. It's a great listen for anyone who's interested in animation.
What's your favorite turtle? I know the answer.
Oh
but...
no. Yeah, you know the answer to this. I mean, I love them all. I think they're all amazing and fantastic and fun. Donnie is probably my favorite because his dry sense of humor just absolutely cracks me up. There are so many Donnie moments in the episodes that like have me in stitches. I think it's his voice actor too is so good. Josh Brenner like delivers his lines in such like a dry tone. It's really perfect. But they're all fantastic. How could I choose?
You don't have to choose. It's fine.
How could I choose?
How can I possibly make a choice between all these reptiles?
Yeah. All reptiles are good.
As artists, we tend to be kind of sensitive people, and sometimes we go through rough time, like everybody does. But like I don't know, we tend to like be a bit more, not secretive about it, but like keep it for ourselves and stuff. And while we're not experts on the matter, sometimes just sharing how we cope and how we deal with some darker times can maybe give some pointers to other lovely out there who have their own fair share of bad thoughts and stuff. I know that when I feel really bad, sometimes I like just stepping out and stopping to draw or like to do anything creative for a little while and like take a walk or just hang out or call a friend really helps me a lot. And I always forget it. And when I do it again, I'm like, oh yeah, I should have done that earlier. So
Yeah.
just sharing some tips that you might have.
Let's see. Definitely taking walks, I think, is a big one. Just getting some fresh air, a little bit of exercise. It doesn't have to be anything intense, but getting out of the space that you're in and somewhere different is like a huge deal. So I think that really helps mood. I think it's really important to take time for personal projects and personal art. I think maybe a lot of the reason that people deal with burnout is to do with them not making time for their own ideas and stuff. Because when you spend every single day working for someone else and someone else's thing, I think it can start to wear a little bit on you. So making sure that you can like really find the love in what you're doing and give yourself that little space to experiment, do little doodles is really important. Listen to Eye of the Tiger every morning. That gets me out of bed. And is it's my song of raising spirits. There's something really stupid that I do sometimes that helps me. And I don't know if it'll help other people, but just in case it does.
Maybe.
If you're feeling low, try doing a power pose, by which I mean stand up straight and throw your chest out and throw your hands up in the air and make fists and like pump your fists and just feel like powerful. Do like a victory pose.
Oh my god, that's the best advice I received in a long time.
Even better, do it in front of a mirror and like just victory pose to yourself, and sometimes just being a little bit goofy I think helps me break out of it. Learning to not take myself so seriously, and kind of remember that it's not the end of the world if things don't always go my way, and if I'm feeling low, you know, then it's not going to be forever. Doing little things like that helps me. I'm all about the goofs.
The goofs.
So just doing little things that make me laugh is the way to break myself out of moods like that. So if that works for someone listening, then I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, because even on your Twitch account that you share with Dog, you play lots of games during the weekend, and I think it's important to remember that even artists of like super amazing talent and level and skills, like everybody still need to chill at one point. You can't just base your life on drawing like 200 hours a week, because at one point you also need to do something else. And yeah, remember that even all the amazing artists out there like still have some other hobby and other things to do except from art. So don't forget that. It keeps the burnout at bay.
It's like when you're doing art, you're like pulling stuff out of your brain, putting on the page, and if you don't like put stuff back in, then it can feel like you're just scraping like the bottom of the barrel every time you go into work. I think you need to keep watching stuff that inspires you and doing stuff that makes you excited, you know. Keep getting life experience, even just going out, people watching, chatting with friends, something to just refill your tank.
That's the first time I hear that, and it's such a good piece of advice. I'll remember that.
I can't remember who said that to me, but someone said that to me, and I was like, you know, you're right. As creative people, we're always pulling from our own experiences, and if you don't have any to pull from, then it can get really hard to be creative.
I feel I've learned a whole lot, and I'm pretty sure that anybody watching this or listening to this will do just the same. It's so much good knowledge. You're a wholesome person, just remember that.
Thank you, Z, and thank you for having me, and thank you for all the help that you've given me like over the past couple of years of just like watching your videos, and you know, you've helped me out a bunch on personal projects and stuff as well, always showing me new things and new ways to use the software and just giving me good advice. So thank you for being a good friend and just super helpful person.
Oh, and I need to say the thank back, because getting invited in our small like Pigbarian community and getting to meet all these friends and all having all these friends in common, and you know what, just seeing your stuff on Twitter a bit before we knew each other, I was like, oh wow, well, making frame by frame animation is still like something, and then when I saw Starlight Brigade, I was like, whoa, this was made by so few people working together and stuff. It just, I don't know why, that video just drove me to do so much things. Like, I can't explain it, but it really made me like start to draw a lot again. Yeah, I think that...
Oh, it's the coolest thing to hear. Thank you so much. That's amazing to hear. Because the whole point of that video was about kind of keeping that spark and doing the thing you want to do, even though it's hard. So it's always the coolest, like hearing that people, you know, it drove them to make more stuff, because that was like the thing that we wanted to say through the video. So it's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, because I've seen your process on Patreon and stuff, and I was like, wow, there was maybe things I could have done to help, and I launched my YouTube channel a bit after to make some like things to help out other artists and stuff. So, yay!
Yeah. Oh, it's the best. Like, thank you so much for providing such like valuable information out there for people for free. Like, it's incredible, and I hope that people keep discovering what a great resource it is, and make amazing things thanks to you, like breaking down the software and making it accessible for people.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you again for coming, and I'm really sure that people are gonna enjoy this as much as I did today. And I mean, maybe like now we talked a lot about indie stuff and working, but there's so much more to talk about, so until next time.
Yeah, next time. Thank you so much for having me. This has been awesome.
Alright, so unless you have any final words, this will be until next time.
Yep. See you guys. See you, everybody. Keep being creative and cool.